Hello everybody, I'm going to talk through my track Truth. I used two basses. I used my SH-101, kind of my signature sound. This style of bass line tend to lead it into the territory of techno, I suppose. If you want to put labels on things, you don't have to put labels on things. I use two kick drums. One is just the bass elements of it, and one to provide attack and high frequencies. I used it from a sample pack, Artist Kicks it's called, and it's a Tim Engelhardt kick drum in D sharp. I have pitched it up one semitone and done a bit of a thing with the envelope. So I also used and I got a really good 808 sample pack from Gold Baby. It's so simple, right? This is like dance music 101. Nothing groundbreaking at all in any of this stuff. But this is a simple track, focused a lot on the voice.
To overcome our flesh and our passions with the mind.
So I spent a lot of time picking the vocal phrases, positioning the vocal phrases and processing the vocal. And I do this a lot with vocals. I'll go in, and if something like that bit isn't cutting through, I'll just do something like that. But as long as you're doing it subtly, you can shape a vocal. In this case, it was a bit less dynamic, so I didn't need too much of that. I've processed it with a compressor. I've done the brute force approach. It goes through reverb and delay separate. And I recently taken to putting an OTT, responsibly used. So, oh my God, this isn't so responsible. The depth is quite high, 61%. But normally I take this down and take the upward expansion down, and then I dial it in, because it can sound fantastic just immediately, but like the name suggested, is over the top, and you don't want it over the top. Now, this track did originally start off as another track that had a piano part. So take away the effect. It's just playing a series of notes. You can hear the main signal is right down the middle, and then you've got this nice wide, and then at that point it almost becomes a string, and this is just the magic of electronic music. You can just make these things happen. So I've bounced that because I liked it so much, and I've used that in other parts of the track as a sort of, yeah, and I've pitched it. So this is the beauty of going into audio. You'll hear a lot of people talking about when you bounce stuff to audio, it just opens up new doors of creativity. And that is true. But then there's also another lead, which is pretty significant actually, which is, if I take away all the effects on it, it's actually just playing one note. Because rather than playing three notes on a synth, I'm using pitch shift. People will view that as a lot of work, but if you get proficient with shortcut keys and really get to grips with your DAW, these things don't have to be a time drain. They just happen like in flow, and they don't disrupt you. It looks like I've actually put my own tremolo, or is it vibrato? But yeah, it looks like I've put my own by wobbling the pitch here. Let's have a listen. Yeah. So I'm being my own synthesizer. I'm the LFO. And that's at one of the peak moments. So at the peak moment, the Nord kind of grows. Then I've used one of those huge claps that people put at the end of their breakdowns. Just give it some character, I suppose, just something to make it a little bit different to what's out there. Drum roll. It's a 909. I've probably done some automation of the envelope with it, which I have. You can see me opening up the decay and release parameters. Sometimes you can just do it with release.
Meant to be.
Yeah, and then it's all about arrangement, building up to peaks, getting the vocal expressions that seem to have the most impact to happen as it goes into crescendo, having the second half gather a bit of pace, so it's the same theme but just with energy levels slightly higher. And yeah, that is how it was made. It's a really simple track.